2025. First thing first, let me know y'all thoughts on today's new episode down below. What did y'all think? Did y'all like it? Also, question, um, do y'all think Sonny was the one who released Marco? Cause all they showed, like Marco walked through the police station or whatever, and when Jason's heard Lucas talking about it or whatever, he looked shocked. He looked shocked, so I was like, okay, he was out of town, so maybe he don't know what actually happened. I don't know, y'all. But yeah, like I said, first thing first, let me know your thoughts on today's new episode down below. We're gonna start with Spinelli, Liesel, excuse me, Spinelli, Liesel, and James. Hey, how you doing today? But they was just doing the little hatchet thing, and Spinelli just kept looking at Liesel. He ends up telling Lulu, texting Lulu, saying that Obit was there. She came and she was wondering what was going on. So he ends up just telling her whatever. I think he said she was interested in spending time with loved ones. I don't know how Rocco got mentioned. I think Rocco got mentioned, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Lulu ends up contacting Dante to tell to meet her at the Hatchet place, and he did. They end up talking about Rocco and Obrick, and they want to stop it before she ends up having a conversation with him. I said, too little, too late. I said, too little, too late. He's the one that contacted her. But yeah, how do y'all feel about this? Some people feel like Obrick overstepped. Some people feel like Rocco has every right to contact and ask questions, considering his mom and daddy didn't do it. I don't know. I don't know at this point. I think they gon' this is their opening to bring Britt back. I think today's episode was kind of a confirmation that she was there. I think what was the last thing? I think when Liesel came over and she was talking to Jason saying, you know, he's alive and Britt will be pleased to see it or whatever. She didn't say she would have been pleased to see it. She said she would be pleased to see it or whatever. So Jason started looking. I said he finna investigate. He finna investigate. But to say, I hope Nina can put a stop to the way the wheel has changed and not for the better. She definitely has it. She looks too far gone to me. She looks too far gone. I don't know if it's actually gonna make a difference or not. We'll see. Cause Portia's supposed to be telling Curtis on tomorrow's episode. You know, if you got something up your sleeve, now will be the time. Now will be the time. I'm assuming he finna find out that she finna go turn herself in. She had already warned him, but you know, I think she started packing her stuff and stuff, didn't she? She started to get down her certificates and everything. I was like, you might as well. Either way it go, even if he threatens to tell Willow or something like that, I don't see the difference that it will make. Because he still knows that she changed Heather test results. I don't know exactly what they think this gonna do, but I don't know. Maybe they assuming that, you know, because Drew been obsessed with Willow this entire time for whatever reason, that, you know, that'll make him say, you know what, I'm gonna stop blackmailing y'all. But other than that, they would more than likely, if they go to her and tell about Nina and Drew, I said, I don't see the difference that's gonna make for them. You still have the test results. You might as well just turn yourself in for somebody else find the information and blackmail you some more. Before they come blackmail you some more. Cause what the word, Carly and Jason, he was discussing Rocco and he was asking about Britt and stuff like that, and he ends up saying he think he saw her, and she was like, well, that don't make sense because she's dead or whatever. She say Jocelyn or whatever, and they just kept talking about it. Then they saying Liesel, and Carla was saying how they can't be a coincidence or whatever, and he's convinced that he's seen her or whatever. And after his conversation with Liesel, I think he know or suspect at least that she actually is, and he saw right. Excuse me. But I got a question. I remember when she saved Jocelyn. I remember her allegedly dying in Obrick Arms because they talked about that today. But afterwards, did they? I don't know what happened after that. I can't remember exactly what happened after that. I think Lisa said she had passed away. I don't know. I can't remember, y'all. But I was like, she wasn't the one when they was on the run. Wasn't Jason the one that was in trouble? I don't know. Why would she have to hide out? I don't understand. I don't know, y'all. But yeah, it looked like she's very much alive. Lulu and Rocco, I think first they was at the pool, and he was telling her how he's working and he don't need her watching him and hovering and stuff like that. That's when she ends up leaving because Vanilla had texted her. Fast forward, they get to the pool and they see Lisa and Rocco talking. Lulu tells Lisa she got to get up out of here. She said, you got to go now. She tells her to leave or whatever, and just I think first Dante told Rocco get over there, and he was like, I'm in the middle of a conversation. He said now. He said now, whatever. So he got up, he went over there by Dante. That's when Lulu told Oprah to leave and asked him what she talking about and why she talking to her son or whatever. I think Lisa ended up leaving, and that's when Rocco was like, he's the one that contacted her to come talk to him or whatever. And they was shocked. They was shocked. He was like, I understand y'all feel y'all way about Brett because of everything that she did, but I don't share those same feelings or whatever. He want to know because they keep saying how, Brett carried him. What they said, was it 7 months? 7 months of his life? No, no, no. They said almost. I think she gave birth, right? It was afterwards, wasn't it? She carried him full term, right? Look, I don't forget already. I don't forget. I think she carried him full term, and it was before his first birthday. I think it was 7 months or whatever. That's why Lisa said on today's episode that the only reason Rocco there is because of her daughter and everything. And I said, yeah. But I wonder how long it's gonna take for Britt to come back, or is Jason gonna go looking for her? Um, Sonny, 88 Turner, and then Dante. 88 Turner was still talking about something. She over here talking about, I assume after the whole conversation about Natalia that, you had a conscience. And what you thought this man was going to say? Yeah, I got Marco. Here, handcuff me. What the world? Don't try to sit up here and play him. Somebody saying, yeah, after our conversation or whatever, we both felt guilty about what happened with Natalia. I thought, you had a conscience. But now I see you the same mobster you been for 30 plus years. Now, I don't know how many years it's been. I'm just saying. I know it's been some decades, though. He been a mobster since I was a kid. But yeah, I was like, why they, once again, like yesterday's episode, I said, I don't understand why they continue to act like this man isn't a mobster. What you think mobsters be doing? I don't understand. But yeah, she over here trying to play him so much. I thought because after, wait, I gotta rewind. Let me see. Let me check my notes. Sidwell came up. I think first Dante was talking to Sonny, and he was saying how, they can't really have a conversation about this because, he a detective, he a criminal. He a detective and he a criminal. They can't talk about it. So that's when 88 Turner came back in. She was like, Sidwell, he had some questions or whatever. And I said, not Sidwell over here trying to snitch to the police. Well, she not the police. She is assistant district attorney or something like that. But yeah, she was out there asking him what's going on, and he hinting around. He indirectly saying that it was foul play. She asking, was it foul play or whatever, and he hinting it and stuff. I said, when they start snitching? They ain't got no code no more. I know all bets go out the window when you take somebody's child or whatever, but at the same time, it's like he snitched the truth on them yesterday. But yeah, so Sonny just standing up there wondering what Sidwell gonna say, and he was like trying to ask him, if his son is okay, and that's the same thing he told 88 Turner. He need confirmation that his son, that Marco's okay. I said, you telling her without telling her, and she just over here desperate to get this man. She gonna be so desperate that she end up hooking up with him, unless they actually, give her a different storyline. We'll see. But what else? So they was standing up there talking, Sidwell beating around the bush and stuff like that. Sonny looking at him, he looking at Sonny. 88 Turner looking at both of them. So then Marco just walk up or whatever, because Lucas went, somebody gave him a key, and I was hoping they told us on today's episode who gave him the key. I'm assuming it was Sonny or whatever. He didn't look as shocked as Jason, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Marco just came in there, whatever, talking about something. What he said? He said he was just driving and he was distracted. I don't know if he said he rolled down the hill. I don't know. I'm probably making up stuff. But either way it go, it was a load of baloney. And 88 Turner knew it. I was like, dude, she don't believe you. It ain't even that she know for a fact. She just don't believe you. She knows Sonny done did something, and he did. He don't sit up here and grab this man talking about some stop the political little situation. I can't believe this. Then they over here, I think on tomorrow's episode, supposed to be talking about, is it Carly he gonna be talking to? Talking about some, maybe it's over now. It ain't over. You done took his son. Talking about some political stuff. He finna take one of your kids or grandkids. What the world going on? But yeah, so after Marco gave this false story, he ends up leaving. And then Sidwell thank 88 Turner for her help and stuff like that. He ends up leaving. He looked shocked too. When Marco was telling his story, he looked all shocked and wondering what's going on. I said he did that so that he could team up with his daddy and take Sonny down. But y'all know they keep failing. Every time, if it ain't the criminals going after Sonny, it's the police. And they don't never do their job. Or they do their job and it don't last long. But yeah, like I said, Sidwell ends up leaving. That's when 88 Turner, Sonny tried to leave. She talking about, so she want to talk to him. She go back in the little interrogation room or whatever. And she talking about, that's when she went to talk about, I thought, we shared a moment. We had a little connection. We both felt guilty about Natalia, taking her life or whatever. So, I suspected or I expected you to do better because Marco's story was a load of baloney. So he was like, he didn't give her no information. He didn't. So, and I was like, girl, why is you shocked that he didn't tell you? He just grabbed somebody. What the world? Trying to act like you his friend so he could tell you, yeah, I grabbed Marco. I was holding him for what they did to Christina at her place or whatever. So you could lock him up? That don't even make sense. Hold on. What else? Let me see. Who we got next? Lucas and Marco, like I said, he got there, he unlocked it, he ends up finding him. These fools stand up there kissing. I said, why people do that? If Sonny didn't know, if his man, if somebody, if it wasn't Sonny that gave you the key or whatever, or had his man, his security guard or whoever the dude was, give you the key, you on limited time. Why is y'all standing up there kissing? What the world going on? So then they stop or whatever. I think he untied him. Obviously, that's when they start kissing and stuff like that. He was like, "I knew you'd find me, my hero," and all this flirting and stuff. They finally leave. He was like, he got to go do something. I'm thinking he got to stop by and see his mama, but they probably don't put her on the ground by now. So I be saying stuff so casually, but then that's when he walked into the police station. We already talked about that part. Let's see who we got next. Nina and Drew. So she went over there to talk to him, and she mentions Sasha leaving town with the baby, and Drew's like, I understand, she was bringing up. I mean, he was bringing up Michael, and maybe Michael was the one that forced her to leave. Excuse me. Maybe Michael was the one that forced her to leave, and she was like, no, he willingly let her go because somebody was targeting the baby. And he was like, well, who would do something like that? And he was like, maybe it has to be Sunny people. It has to be them sending the message or whatever. And then Nina was like, I thought so too, but I don't think so. I think it was you. And I said, no, you close. You getting warmer. You getting warmer. It's your daughter. It's your daughter. So after he said, he didn't do it, and I think he convinced her he didn't do it or whatever. So he started thinking, and I said he about to put two and two together, but he not gonna do nothing. If you really love this woman, you see she losing it or done lost it because she grabbing babies and stuff. You supposed to try to get her help. You supposed to try to get her help, but no, I think I don't know. Do y'all think he got another plan or something, or do y'all think he just really just that in love with Willow? Let me know. Cause I've been wondering that. I was like, do y'all think it's a bigger purpose, or do y'all think he just that in love with her? I don't know. Either way it go. But what else? I think Willow came, and that's when they was talking. And I think Spinelli was there when she came, and they was talking about the wedding and Maxie and stuff like that. He ends up leaving, and that's when they started talking. And he's like, hey Willow, what was you doing on the 4th of July or something like that? And she says something about she met up with her mama or whatever. I think she said she got there late and all this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, he knows it was her. He know it was her. But who else gonna know that it was her? Because Nina was saying, it had to be somebody that know their way around. And I was like, why they didn't figure out that it had to been her? And why they still don't got no cameras? All this stuff going on. Silver done walked in there and took Sasha's stuff. Nobody got no cameras. Nobody got no guards. They got Yuri. He the only guard. They need to stop pretending. Talking about they got security. Shoot, they need to be fired just like Sunny people. Hold on. They need to be fired just like Sunny people. But yeah, excuse me. Willow and Portia. So she trying to talk to this crazy lady. She's like, okay, did you hear me? She's like, did you hear me? He's blackmailing me. Let me see. Let me find it first. Let me find it. Let me see. I don't think I wrote that part down, but yeah, she was like, he's blackmailing me. He wants me to change your ex-husband, the man you claimed to love at one point. His test results to make him look like an addict. And she over here at first, she turned around and she looked like she believed it at first, but then she talking about some, if that's what it takes, I'm on Drew's side. And she like, whatever you done did to get yourself in this situation. I said, well, you got a point there, because she definitely did. She definitely did it herself to get in this situation. But yeah, she was like, well, I feel sorry for you. Whatever you done did done got you in this situation, but Michael didn't play fair, so why should we? Drew been the only one looking out for me and helping me get my kids. If this the way we could get our kids, then, so be it. And she left. And I was like, yeah, she's so far gone. I don't think telling about Drew and Nina, if that actually be the thing that wakes her up, I'd be shocked. I would actually be shocked. And I'm also still wondering why they keep mentioning the little cabin that Isaiah got from Lucky. I don't know if it's going to be a storyline with it or not. Especially with Daisy gone. Because at first I thought she was going to end up going to his cabin and taking Daisy there or something like that. But Daisy gone there. And they said she's not coming back no time soon. So, but yeah, she telling her, she's like, did you hear me? Yeah, she heard you. She's my son. Yeah. She talking about Michael didn't play fair, so why should they? She on Drew's side. I said, you fool. You fool. Let's see if you be on his side when Curtis tell you he been sleeping with your mama. Hold on. What else? Portia ends up contacting Nina. Nina comes. That's when she tells Drew is blackmailing her to change Michael's test results, and she's like, "See how shocked you is? I'm worried about your daughter because she not the same Willow we knew." And look like Nina gonna be crying on tomorrow's episode and stuff like that. The good that's gonna do. You had every opportunity to tell the truth, and now she's so far gone. I don't think it's gonna make no difference. I really don't think it's gonna make a difference. I might be wrong. We'll see. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. Who else we got? Who else we got? We already talked about Spinelli and Lulu talking about Oprah, Lulu, Dante, Rocco and Jason was talking. I think he ends up revealing that he reached out to Obrick or whatever, and Jason looked concerned and stuff like that. He didn't agree with that. That's when Obrick came over there and she wanted to talk, and he let it be known that he mentioned to her that he worked there because she was like, "Oh, she would, she wasn't really expecting to see him there." And she took a picture of them together, and I said she gonna send it to Britt. That's probably gonna be what lead them to come back. Not them, lead Britt to come back to town or whatever. I'm forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. Was it Carly and Lucas? I think Carly and Lucas. He came over there and he was like, he wanted her help. And I was like, what he want? He wanted her to let him into Marco's room, so she did. They got the going back and forth about whether or not Sonny was responsible and Jason. And he's like, he glad that Marco's okay, because if he had died or anything like that, your ex-husband / baby daddy and your best friend was going to jail for a long time. And I said, and you think, why y'all be thinking y'all gonna stop it? Well, I can't say that because they could be the ones to stop it. Josh actually could be the one to take Sonny down, since she was close by to whatever her mama was anyways. I said, if they ever injured her hospital, she probably could be the one to take him down. I don't know. But yeah, they were just going back and forth with that, and Carly kept trying to say, you don't know if it was them. And I was saying the same thing. When he first got there and he got Marco, I was like, well, technically, you didn't see Jason and you didn't see Sonny. Now, Jason was on the outside talking and stuff. But other than that, you didn't see nobody. You don't know. Silva could have plenty of enemies. He running around blowing up people and stuff. Blowing up people. Did he blow them up? No, he didn't blow them up. I know he was trying to murder them or whatever. But I think that was what's his name? Brandon, who did that. I don't know, y'all, I forgot. But yeah, I said the reason why he didn't say nothing because he about to team up with his daddy. He about to team up with his daddy. But yeah, Lucas and Carla was going back and forth. He ends up saying that, what did he say to her? He said, never defend Jason or Sonny to me again. And she was like, okay, whatever. She left or whatever. I said, they into it. I said, nah, the same thing. They argue about the same. Well, not them. This is new. But arguing over Jason and Sonny is not new. And I said, Carla ain't tired yet. I understand, though. But at the same time, they shouldn't be into it because of these folks. She was telling him, I almost forgot this part. She told him, you don't know the man. You just met him. And I said the same thing. She was like, he claimed he didn't want nothing to do with his dad and stuff like that, but he moved there to be closer to him. To be closer to him. She was like, you can't be that naive to think, he don't have no parts in what he got going on and all that stuff. And I was like, right. But this is how it works. I be telling people, that's why I was shocked. And I don't know if y'all watched that show or the show that used to air. What was it called? Power Book 2 or something like that. Ghost. Where the lady, I don't even remember their name, but I'm sure y'all don't talk about it if you watch it. People was shocked because the daughter, I think her name was Anya or something like that, how she got murdered on the steps and stuff. But that's what they do. Mobsters and people, I don't understand why everybody was so shocked about that, just like on today's episode with Marco. People shocked about that, saying he ain't had nothing to do with it. He saved Christina, but that's what they do. And that's why I don't understand why Sonny targeted these folks. That was his only son that we know of. His only relative. You got about 30 people in town that he could grab right now. Come on now. I think that's it, y'all. Let me see. Let me scan these notes. Let me make sure. Rocco said he the one that reached out to Obrick. Portia said Nina, her daughter, was unfaithful when she told about Drew blackmailing her to change Michael results. I think the last thing I wrote was that Drew knows that it was Willow who grabbed Daisy, but he's not gonna do nothing. He's too desperate to marry her. But I want to know why. People still saying about ELQ. I said, well, he really, is it that serious? I mean, they've been arguing over it for a very long time, but I don't understand. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the day and be safe.